The power of the intercession is massive, but also the gift of life and seeing the beauty of it regardless. Like, I don't know how you can argue with it. Like, like, people love babies. Like, like even
children love
yeah.
Like my daughter, you saw her today, but she is just, even baby dolls. Everywhere we go, will there be baby dolls? Will there be baby dolls? She wants to go to a store to look for baby dolls. You know, like, she loves babies. And, you know, she's observed me around babies, but I don't have, like, I've had some friends' babies that I've held, but for the most part, it's like I have no sibling in my arms yet that she's seen for her. And yet there's this intuitive sense of attraction towards the young child.
Yeah, and there's something, like, we're drawn, and it brings part of us alive, and I think we have to kill it and stuff it down to not have it. So I do think that you can walk by some people, and they're like, I'm not acknowledging there's a baby, but most people are like, oh, and there's like a melting, and Kiara had on a baby today. She had the baby strapped in her, like, in a carrier, and she kept getting these looks because she's young,
she's so little.
So she's like a little girl carrying a real baby. And they're like, is that baby real? And she has like a cute bow on, but they're like, oh my goodness, she's so precious. Like, and just, it was beautiful. Like, we were in TJ Maxx. It was crazy. People are Christmas shopping.
Oh, right.
The line was out the door, like, ridiculous. People are stressed. And there was a part where, like, you couldn't tell, like, if I was waiting in line first or the lady over there was, and there was, like, this tension building, and people were behind me and people were behind her, and I felt the tension rising. And Kiara, like, walked up and was like, oh, you can go. Like, and, like, it melted. It melted the tension, and it was like, oh my goodness, you have a beautiful family. And it was just like a softness came over this woman, and the other people in line didn't care anymore. And it was like, we're all admiring this beautiful baby, and like this, I don't know, like, softness, or even like seeing, like, my son and his friends. Like, he just had a friend over who has a mustache. The dude's like he's a teenager, but he's like a man teenager. And then my son too, who's like kind of big and tough, and they're like, oh, and they're like, oh, Seju. Like they make baby faces and noises, and they love babies, and they melt, and it's like there's a softening, and it's so good.
Yes, and the beautiful thing is, it is the mere presence of the child, because the child is
not doing anything for them,
incapable of doing anything but being. And it is the presence, it is the being of another person, which is a reminder to all of us, like, to have that sense of the sacred when encountering another, not by what they've accomplished, what their reputation is, who their friends are, but that they are. Being. It's being, human beings.
Yeah. I remember when we lived in Ireland, people were more, at least in the town, we were in a very rural town, and people didn't like us in the town because there was an old Irish priest, and we moved there, and everyone thought, this is not what the church teaches anymore. The church has changed with times. And then we were a young married couple who said all the same things that the priest was teaching. So a lot of the town did not like us, and kind of. But what was interesting, when I had my first baby, they come over and they would melt, and they talk in Gaelic, because Gaelic was their, and they're like, oh, shabba, shabba, and like all these noises, and they're interacting. And I remember this one man was an old man, and he was very hard and stern. I'd seen him before in town. It was a small town. Never even looked at me, but it's like interacting and playing with the baby. And then I was like, oh, hi, I'm Karen. I know who he is. And turned and marched off, and I was like, okay, don't take it personal. Wow. It's fine. Yeah, like, there was a real, I don't know, didn't like me for whatever reason. And normally I'm a people person. Yeah. People normally like me, but they didn't in this town, which is fine. But they all loved the baby. Like, they all loved and oohed and gawed. Like, I don't know what Ireland's like now, but when we lived there, like 13 years ago, everybody loved and cooed and like, was just, oh, babies, and anyone with a baby, like, everyone, I don't know, just fawnts over them, and just they find them
and that's
so precious.
Even with the baby in the womb, which is the funny thing about how messed up our culture is, because on one hand you have all these people wanting to push for abortion and celebrate abortion, but as a pregnant woman with a very pregnant belly,
do you get a lot of comments?
Yeah, I get comments that are always affirming and encouraging, and even just the stares and the smiles, like, people sense there's something different about me in a positive way. They want to affirm that. They're enjoying that and observing that, you know, or offering you to go first because you're pregnant, or whatever the case may be. So, there's that sense of the sacred with the young new life, whether it's in the womb or out of the womb.